Wake up! Wake up! Today should be an easy day to wake up. You should pop out of the rack because the 49ers are moving on in the NFC playoffs. Let's effing go.
I believe it's called Victory Monday around here. Welcome to Wake Up with Damon and Larry. It's great to have you here. And oh my goodness, maybe the most surprising wake up of the entire year. Krug, I know a lot of people are saying, didn't you and Larry, didn't you and Damon pick the Eagles in this game? A lot of people picked the Eagles in this game. A lot of smart people picked the Eagles in this game. And I tell you, if you just want a 49er fan to tune into who's going to just tell you, blow sunshine up your ass, everything's great, let's go, we're going to win it all the time. Like, if the content creator you're watching always picks the 49ers to win, it's good that you're here, because what we do is deal in reality. And the reason why everybody is so excited today, because I think you knew you were up against it. And in that game, there were several moments where it looked to be up against it. George Kittle tearing his Achilles is about as dramatic a letdown as you can have an in-game injury possible. And they fought through it all. These sons of bitches fought through it all. They did it again. And Larry, you know, I know that everyone's trying to stack. What's the greatest Kyle playoff win? Was it, going on the road in Green Bay? Was it the comeback against the Lions in the NFC title game? Look, you can rank them however you want. I don't think there's ever been one where there was more to overcome, where there was a less likely chance to win a game and you come out on top. That was an extraordinary football game. The entire first round, basically, of the wild card has been separated by eyelashes until the Chargers got on the field last night. But man, I mean, that was just incredible. All the emotions were had, no doubt about it. It's good to see you, Krueger. I'm glad you survived your trip in and out of the link. That's a hairy, hairy parking lot indeed. So good to see you, man. I know that, your wonderful sponsor had you out on this trip. So I think we need to start with some thank yous. Thank you to Ike's. Thank you to the Dubliner. Larry, take it away.
Well, let me just first say, before we get into any of that, that I don't know what I predicted on Monday on Wake Up, but on game day and on YouTube, I predicted the 49ers to win this thing 23-20. And to be 1 point off of that, I saw a path to victory for the 49ers. I really did. Which is why I picked them to win 23-20.
All right. Well, you changed your mind then on me a little.
Well, I don't know, because I don't. Okay. What did you pick?
Well, I said I think that the Eagles are going to win this game, but that was before we knew two things that I do think became critical. Indeed, Trent Williams was going, and just as critical, Lane Johnson was not. And had I known that, I might have felt a little bit differently. But I honestly don't, I don't know if I would have felt that differently about the entire situation. I had very little inclination or knowledge that Garrett Wallow was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, he wasn't. But here's the bottom line. I think I said early in the week or middle of the week, hey, look, I like the Eagles 80% chance of winning. But the more I looked at when I got to town, when I came to Philly on Friday, and I started to talk to people around here and talk to the Philly people that I did talk to back before I left, there was this constant drumbeat of, the offensive coordinator sucks and all this frustration. And I started reading more and more and more about this Eagles team and the season they had. And the team that I would compare them to is the 86 Bears. People talk about the 85 Bears. And because you're, a Chicago guy, or at least somewhat a Chicago guy. You're a New York guy, really. But, you spent some time in the Midwest.
Yes, of course. I grew up rooting for the Chicago Bears as a little boy.
Yeah. So, the story of the 85 Bears. The 85 Bears were the greatest defensive team of all time. And they had such a party that year, and the city of Chicago leaned into that thing so much. And these cities like Chicago and Philly that are all based, so much of their culture is based around their sports teams. They party. They wallow in defeat and they party in success. And this Eagles team won the Super Bowl last year. And you could kind of get the feeling from talking to all their people that I don't know who was going to win in the NFC, but it wasn't going to be them. Like they were going down. They weren't going to, whether they beat the Niners last night or not, they were going down. And so I just felt like, you know what? They're beatable. They kind of reminded me of the 86 Bears because the 86 Bears went 14-2 and they were still awesome in 86. But guess what happened? It wasn't quite the same. And when they got to the playoffs, the Redskins knocked them off.
Yeah, it's a really good Redskins team.
Yeah, it was a good Redskins team for sure. But I mean, that Bears team probably was even better than that Redskins team, but it wasn't 85. And this year wasn't last year for the Eagles. And they just kind of, they had this vibe of like, hey, you know what? We're beatable. The more I started looking at this, the more I thought, you know what? I think the 49ers have a path to victory if they can score first, get a lead, get a couple turnovers. And I'll freely admit, I said it 5 times, if not 10 times. If the Niners are -1 or -2 in turnovers, they're going to lose. And they were -2 in turnovers and lost George Kittle early in the game and still found a way to win. So it is the ultimate team sport. It is the ultimate gut check win for the 49ers. That was as good a win. That is the greatest win in Kyle Shanahan's history with the 49ers because, yeah, they beat the Lions. They went to the AFC Championship game. But you said it, Damon. There was so much adversity here, and it was cold and windy. I did an interview on KNBR at 2:30 in the afternoon, Damon, standing in front of the stadium. I was standing in the brightest, sunniest, corridor outside the stadium, tucked away from the wind as much as I could. And, dude, it was freezing, absolutely freezing. And I can't imagine when we came out of the stadium at whatever time it was, 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, we were waiting for our Uber. 3 minutes never seemed as long as that wait for that.
Well, you could tell it was absolutely freezing out there when Erin Andrews showed up wearing a tauntaun from Empire Strikes Back. I mean, she was.
What was that?
I have no idea, but there was obviously, bundle up warnings for everybody. I bet it was even cold inside the hermetically sealed press box. I mean, it was just a chilly, chilly day. And that's something that you got to think, well, that's going to work against the 49ers. Everything was going to work against the 49ers in that game. But it happened, Larry. It happened. And I just think that, look, there are moments in a game where things are going to go wrong. And you got to circle the wagons around those moments and keep on playing. And the Niners have been able to do that really all season long. And they've overcome so much adversity. It's hard to imagine now that they won't figure out a way to overcome a team that just absolutely creamed them in Week 18 going up to Seattle. And Sam Darnold making that mistake. Now, I don't want to do Friday's wake up here on a Monday. This is all looking back at one of the great games we'll ever watch in our lives. That was an incredible playoff game. That thing was a nail biter the whole way through. And when you come out on the other end with a win, I just hope that there are some fans who maybe didn't appreciate Kyle for whatever reason. They were told not to or believed not to, and they do a little bit more. I can tell you that, there is this sort of gunslinger quality to Brock Purdy where he will uncork a couple bad passes. And, oh, by the way, a lot of teams uncorked bad passes against a very good Eagles secondary this year. And, the minute Brock makes a mistake, you can hear people jumping off the plank. And that just needs to end because these are 60 minutes games. And this team comes to play for 60 goddamn minutes every single time we basically look at them. They, I said yesterday, like the whole, they got a lot of heart. They got a lot of gumption. Like that's something you say about how, those kids from Toledo played Akron really hard, even though they were down in the fourth quarter. They found a way back. Like the heart, gumption, all of that stuff that usually doesn't trickle into mattering that much in a pro football game because it's about talent, it's scheme, it's preparation, and it's health. Those mean more to football outcomes at the professional level than this team really wanted it. Everybody's playing for huge money out there. Everybody wants it, believe me. But that sometimes there is magic. And it feels like a little magic came into the 49ers locker room when they needed it the most. And because of that, Larry, I don't know how much time you spent looking at any game notes, post-game notes. I'm sure you walked out of there shot last night. And you
Dude,
like
we had an amazing post-game, dude. We had 5,000 people in the room.
That's awesome.
It was an absolute monster. We took off 110 supers. It was an incredible deal. I holed up in the Spanish language 49er booth. The engineer set me up in there so I could be as loud as I wanted to in the middle of the press box and not bother any of the writers. So yeah,
I watched a little of it, man. I was upstairs. I had my kids and whatnot, and I just spent 4 hours on it because I did an hour plus after the game. I just kept going because it was so exciting. And then finally, Jillian was like, "Get your ass upstairs." And so but I did. I watched a little bit of you, Kev, and everyone popping on the show. And great job last night. I had the biggest watch party I've had since the Super Bowl in 2023. And Niner fans should be excited because you know what happened last night? The 49ers notched playoff win number 40. That makes them the winningest playoff team in football history. No NFL team has won more playoff games than the San Francisco 49ers, and they advanced to the divisional round for the 26th time in franchise history. And if past is prologue, right? What do we know about Shanahan? He either misses the playoffs or gets to the NFC title game. And that is completely in play once again. Here we are.
Well,
Here we are again.
Let me say this about Purdy. You mentioned Purdy. Purdy is a great young quarterback. Is he elite? Is he this? Is he that? Is he top 5? Is he top 10? If he's top 50, is he top 15? I don't know. I don't care. I really don't care to judge it that much. It's a moving thing. We're talking about people and injuries and careers and young guys and old guys. And, it's like, it's really hard. How do you compare Drake May and Aaron Rodgers in rank? You know what I mean? It's like Drake May looks great, but it's just started. Aaron Rodgers is at the end. It's not quite what it used to be. There's a lot of different ways to break this all down. But Brock Purdy is an awesome competitor. And you know what's really awesome about him? And I asked Kyle about it. It's like, dude, this guy will make a mistake, and a lot of guys would be reticent about putting the ball in harm's way after that. And he's not. He just lets it rip. He lets it rip, and he's a great competitor. The guys believe in him in that room. He outrushed Jalen Hurts. Hey, this just in. Everybody should know today what we knew going into this game, which was that Brock Purdy is better than Jalen Hurts.
Well, that's the thing. Some people only understand I held a Super Bowl trophy. And that's the problem.
So did Trent Dilfer.
49er fans. I think
so
that's
did Trent Dilfer. You held a Super Bowl trophy on a night where your defensive line had 10 sacks. Come on. What are you joking? Jalen Hurts is a solid NFL quarterback. He's not Brock Purdy. He doesn't read the field like that. But I said it because I got that vibe from the Eagles fans. And I didn't, they basically said the message. They're like, this team is dysfunctional. The guy who's, this is why I love the fact that you've got independent voices in the media. Who knows football really, really well? Mike Sando. Who's a really straight shooter? Mike Sando. And what did Mike Sando say about this game? He said the Niners are going to win. Why? Because there's less dysfunction. And you know what, David? We saw it. It was on full display. The dysfunction, A.J. Brown and Sirianni going nose to nose and the fans booing loudly. But there was a point, and I wish I could remember exactly what it was. I think it was after the JJ touchdown, but it might not have been. It might have been after the CMC last touchdown. But Damon, this place went silent. Absolutely silent. I said to JD, I'm like, dude, listen, there's no noise. It was like everybody shut. This is the loudest talking city I think I've ever been in. You go to a sports bar and there's tons of guys going nose to nose and all these Flyer fans, and they're fired up and they're verbal and there's noise and they're got an opinion, and I did a video in the parking lot, they're heckling. It went silent. These people that can't shut their fucking mouth went silent. It was an awesome, awesome thing to
You know,
observe.
you talk about what the camera captures, and you saw the static between A.J. Brown and Sirianni. I hadn't seen it until I was, searching my timeline this morning, because when you're hosting a watch party, you take your eyes off the screen sometimes when there's not action. But as Sirianni, Hurts, and the Eagles offensive coordinator there, we're talking about, all right, here it is. It's fourth and we're alive or dead. You could see Jalen Hurts not like that play that was getting called. You could see him basically going like, and looking at Sirianni a little like, this is what we're doing. And dude, I mean, they just ran 4 go routes against the Niners, who were playing a real simple cover 4. It was rudimentary football, because the Niners just can't do much defensively right now. And thank God the Eagles do have a bad offensive coordinator who generated only 6 second-half points. And we watch the 49ers defense play better than the 49ers offense between the end of the first half, when Kyle Shanahan ran a disgraceful 2-minute drill, and you had frickin' Juwan Jennings just lollygagging back to the line of scrimmage and not running his, he wasn't running his motion, like there was precious time ticking away. Let me tell you, Juwan Jennings owed the 49ers that pass that he uncorked, because he did not have a good game beyond that pass.
Well, wait a second. That Purdy also had a hand in that, because Purdy ran to the sidelines, and then instead of running out of bounds, he took it upfield instead of going to the sidelines, and then eventually got back to the sidelines and then fumbled.
That was a mistake. I thought he should have thrown one away, then throw it to McCaffrey after he had to burn that timeout. He had to burn the timeout because Kendrick Bourne wasn't lined up right. And you had,
they burned timeouts. They burned their timeouts.
Yeah. That wasn't great. And then nothing really great happened until, we talked about it, Larry. I said somewhere in a desk on the back of a napkin is a play that Kyle has been waiting to run, and he has been waiting for 6 years to run that play. The last time he uncorked that play, it was Emmanuel Sanders throwing to Raheem Mostert. And it's the same play, and it was 6 years in between him running it. And first of all, hell of a throw by Juwan, all things considered, in the wind, in those conditions. But McCaffrey
took a hit too.
Yeah, McCaffrey adjusted from back shoulder to this shoulder to this shoulder. The catching radius on this running back is insane. What Christian McCaffrey, that play goes into the Hall of Fame montage the day he's inducted first ballot. He is unbelievable. Wow. This game was something else. It really, really was. And I'll tell you, going back to Purdy and who you are in crunch time, again, it ain't crunch time in the middle of the second quarter or the middle of the third quarter. It's crunch time at crunch time. And when it mattered most on the game-winning drive, Purdy was 5 of 7 for 42 yards and a touchdown. He also picked up a first down with a 5-yard scramble. Matt Mayoko shared this one, Cobra. Purdy now has 4 game-winning fourth-quarter drives in 7 postseason games. Is that not enough for anyone? Not enough?
Let's go back to the – hold on a second. You're all over the place here. Let's go back to the play that you're talking about. Well, you're going from one thing to another. I'm not getting any comments here. Let me just say this about that play. JJ was a high school quarterback, and he stayed in there. And when you watch that, he saw Jalen Carter, who's got to be one of the most intimidating defenders in football, with a full head of steam coming right at his broken, fractured, cracked ribs. And this guy is such a badass. We got guys who we know can't even get out there. And then JJ's out there with cracked ribs. And he should have saw Jalen Carter and got rid of that. I mean, that's the instinct of a normal person.
Look at it this way. Purdy made a hell of a business decision. There was a chance where he could have blocked Jalen Carter. Purdy was like, I'm good.
Purdy looked at Carter and said, I think I should have done something there. And Carter bears down on JJ. JJ holds it to the last second and then releases a freaking dime. 2 things, though. He releases it up. He exposes his ribs, and he took a massive shot. It was unbelievable. Drew a penalty. But the bigger part of that play is that Christian McCaffrey was the perfect guy to throw that ball to. Why? Because, dude, the one thing that I've learned from covering the Niners this year is that even though he doesn't look the part necessarily, Christian McCaffrey's fire burns unbelievably hard when it comes to competitor. He's one of the greatest competitors of all time. He was not going to drop that pass. I mean, this guy wants it so bad. It's unbelievable. And I thought that was between the call, the throw, the catch. I mean, my God, dude, one of the greatest 49er plays ever. And you're right about Kyle used all kinds of ingenuity, all kinds of incredible play calling, all kinds of creativity, and at times fooled the Eagles. The guy for the Eagles, I forget the guy's name, the offensive coordinator, there's nothing that they ever did all year that tried to fool anybody. They're just like, here it is, try to stop it. And that works when across the line and every guy on the team, you're better. But when you're not better across the board, you got to sometimes fool some people. And they had no ability to fool anybody. They should have tried to fool the Niners on that fourth down conversion. Instead, as you said, they went very simplistic and just said, hey, let's, defend it. And the Niners, I mean, I can't even tell you, dude, how much this thing is amazing from the standpoint of Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow. Niners caught two major breaks, Damon.
Yeah.
Garrett Wallow and Eric Kendricks are better right now. Dave Lombardi said it, and I ripped him for it early in the week, and he was totally right. And Dave, you were right, and I was wrong. He basically said the Niners upgraded when they went from Tatum Bethune to Eric Kendricks. And I said, man, that seems kind of harsh. But you know what? He's totally right, because Bethune body was totally beaten up. The Niners fell off all these tackles. They missed 17 against Seattle because they're fatigued. Now you bring in a brand new linebacker in Kendricks, who's used to playing 16 games, who's only played like 2. And you got Wallow, who's a really hard-working, smart guy. And, dude, Robert Saleh and Johnny Holland got those guys ready. Damon, I'm watching on the binocs, so I'm really in the box, like inside the and I'm watching these guys. There must have been 20 snaps where Wallow or Kendricks is like, hitting CJ West on the ass, move over a spot. Hey, Alfred Collins, they adjusted, jump this spot. They got those two veteran linebackers, got the Niners lined up right on defense all day. And it was incredible to watch. I didn't mention the sponsors, so let me just do that. We're brought to you, of course, on my end by Pig and a Pickle. Awesome place. Emeryville, Corte Madera. Soon opening in Petaluma, open 7 days a week. Go say hi to Damon and Mary, get some brisket. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Also, Claudaddy Arcades is sponsoring our trip to Philly. 7 locations, including Capitola. Great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. Thank you, Claudaddy Arcades, for sending us to Philadelphia. This has been an unbelievable trip. All right, I'm sorry. Back.
No, look, all I can tell you is that Garrett Wallow led the team in tackles in his first career postseason game, in his very first start as a 49er. Again, they met these guys this month. And then Eric Kendricks, again, 10 tackles, tied his postseason career high. He had 10 tackles against New Orleans when he was a Viking in 2018. I mean, it was a long time ago. So that was just incredible what those guys did. I'll tell you, Alfred Collins up front, CJ West, they did so much dirty work in this game, stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. The two of them, that's maybe, there you go. The rookies you drafted are a big part of the reason why this team came out on top. Sam Aquinu played pretty well. And let me tell you, Keon White had the only sack of the day. But it isn't how many sacks you have. It's when it happens. And if Keon White had not taken down Jalen Hurts, I don't know if the 49ers are winning this game. That was a huge play and a huge moment in this game. I think there are 3 huge moments that defined this team's ability to win. One of them was from Keon White. And the other 2, look, let's not pretend for a second there wasn't a little bit of luck involved here for the 49ers, because there was. A.J. Brown decided to wear his stone hand gloves. He had balls hitting him in the fingertips Not bad throws by Hurts that he just couldn't pull in. He had right there footballs that this really good player decided to drop and not look good at all in the NFC wildcard game. And I'm going to tell you, the whole math of this game turns on that Jake Elliott missed point after touchdown. That changed the math of the whole game.
If you know what's really interesting, look at the Eagles' targets and then catches. Every single one of their top 4 weapons caught half. Basically, they all dropped at least 3 passes or didn't connect on 3 passes. They targeted Devontae 11 times. He caught 8 balls. They targeted Goddard 7 times. He caught 4. They targeted Barkley 6 times. He caught 3. They targeted A.J. Brown 7 times. He caught 2? Is that right?
Extraordinary.
Or no, 3. So that's a lot of misses there. The other guy that we got to shout out here, sometimes there's good fortune in games. I'll tell you what the good fortune of this game was, is that the Niners have a pecking order with their young guys, and they don't screw around with it. And it's like Jair Brown was here and Siegel was here. But in the minds of many of us, I thought Siegel was the better cover guy all year. And
really good game.
Yeah, I know he had a good couple good games early. Then he had a couple rough games. Then he sat most of the year. He had 8 tackles, 7 solo. He saved the game on that 1 tackle. Was it Goddard or whoever it was? The shoestring tackle. Marquise Siegel was terrific. Terrific.
I think since we're just talking about hand him the flowers, Kyle Juszczyk is standing right in the middle of this victory. And he might be playing the George Kittle role the rest of this season. However far it goes, I can see him being the preferred guy in the mid-range that Purdy is looking for. And Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus Robinson is why the Niners are going to Seattle. Without him, I don't think this game that they're going to Seattle without him. A postseason career high, 111 yards, a touchdown, 6 catches. And this guy was basically a mostly forgotten, mostly unused player throughout the entire year. He just did not factor in week-to-week game plans. He showed up when the money was on the table in a way that this team just has to be thrilled. I mean, Demarcus Robinson didn't feel like a great signing until last night. And then, thank God they brought in Demarcus Robinson. That was something else, man. He had a great game.
They targeted D-Rob, as they call him. They targeted him 7 times. He caught 6 balls for a 111 and a touch, but you're right. That first touchdown, the first big play, the 61-yarder, that was like, hey, guess what? The 49ers are here. And I think from that moment on, I think Eagle fans were a little bit like, oh, no.
I think it rocked them back on their heels a little.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, the next snap was at the 16-yard line, and they looked really good at the start of the game, and they had all kinds of momentum and energy and I also think, I also think it was kind of a mistake. I thought it was a mistake, Damon, for Sirianni to defer to the second half. I really did. I mean, I know, I know that the theory is go with your better unit, and he put his defense out there in the first quarter. But think about it this way: what was more likely to happen? That the Niner defense was going to rise up and stop them on the first drive, or that the Niners offense may score. I would say the Niners offense had them. That's where the money is. That's where the players are. That's where Trent Williams is. That's where Purdy is. They got all kinds of weapons. And the line's playing pretty decent. I don't know, man. If I would Sirianni, I would have gone out there and put the Niner defense on the field first and just had a long. I mean, they had a 16-play drive. When Thomas Morstead buried them inside their 10, and they drove all the way 94 yards on 16 plays, right then I was like, oh my God, there's no way the Niners are going to win this game. If you can't even bury a team inside the 10 and they just rhythmically go down the field on you and score, it's like, but the Eagles had a lot of pressure on them. And they worked together. You said it. I didn't even see Hurts at the end there, not like that call. But that has been the message around this team, that they don't like the offensive coordinator's calls. They don't believe in their calls. And I also really think that a town like, Chicago, a town like Philly, they celebrate their wins so big that there's a hangover effect. They know that none of these teams, I mean, not that it's common to win back to back, but nobody outside of the Bulls, nobody wins back to back in cities like Philly and Chicago, right? I mean, those are because there's so much celebration that it's like hard to come back and run it back that next year.
Well, I know this, and this is a fact. The NFC has not produced back-to-back Super Bowl winners since 1993. Going back-to-back from any conference is impressive, but it has not happened, and it does not happen often, and it hasn't happened since 1993 in the NFC. No team has gone back-to-back, so that includes your Philadelphia and your Chicago, for sure. Not that Chicago has played for a Super Bowl in a long time, but look, I'm just telling you, that was a hell of a football game, defined on one side, outstanding coaching and preparation, and on the other side, a lack thereof in both categories. In a game that is this close, penalty yardage matters. One penalty, 15 yards. That's it. And it was the personal foul on Siegel as he and Farrell both collided on a giving up his body, Jalen Hurts. And that was, it was in the ear hole a little. It was, it wasn't the best flag I've ever seen. It wasn't the worst either. And it was the only one of the day for the 49ers. No procedural jumping off sides by this offensive line. Nothing. No pass interference in this game. And they were letting them play a little bit. The ref said, we're going to go ahead and let this one get physical. And the 49ers put it down all day. They did. They got that done. That's great preparation. So that's what I think about the Niners. Go and then I want to tell you about the Eagles and how they lost this game, because there's a way the Eagles lost this game that I don't think anyone's talking about, and it's ridiculous.
The O-line, the Niner O-line has to be shouted out. I mean, Brock Purdy moved incredibly well in this game and had one key 5-yard run late, but only one sack. Only one sack of Brock Purdy. The Niners, with their crappy pass rush that had 20 sacks this year, the lowest ever, whatever. I mean, just a disaster pass rush year, had the same number of sacks on Hurts against Philly's vaunted line that the Niners had against the same number of sacks as the Eagles had against Purdy. I also think there was some arrogance here. I think Sirianni wanted the Niners and over the Packers. I also think that Sirianni, I think that they sat out Lane Johnson because they're like, hey, you know what? We could beat the Niners without Lane Johnson. I really believe that. They'll never admit it. Nobody will ever admit that. But you know what?
He's been banged up all year, though. He really has been.
He has been. But I mean, he was. I think the Eagles were trying to win the Super Bowl last night, where the Niners were trying to win the game last night. And if they rested Lane Johnson, if they got him healthier, if they gave him we're going to beat the Niners, and then we're going to beat no, play it out straight and go for it. Choosing rest, it's a tough thing. It's a hard, I know that's what he felt his team needed. But I think he read the room wrong.
I look, I think that there was a game plan, and then there's the game that's happening. And whatever the game plan was, the Eagles stuck to, well, we're going to try to beat the Niners with a level of balance here. I think the Niners are in Cabo today. Had the Eagles handed Tank Bigsby the ball a few more times,
he looked good.
A few more runs, and this Eagles team, I think, goes 36 carries, 140 yards. You had Barkley, who got a little banged up at the end, and at the end I thought became less effective. I would have gone back to Bigsby. Bigsby averaged 4.8 yards per carry. The Eagles, at the Peach Bowl, Larry, I saw this one Indiana fan in a bar. She was wearing a hat, just said, "Run the damn ball." And I cannot believe that the Eagles didn't run the damn ball more on a night where their quarterback clearly isn't dialed in and loving and speaking the same language as their offensive coordinator. And your entire receiving core has got a case of the dropsies that is undeniable. Like, play the game in front of you. Nobody's catching a thing out here today. Should we run it a little bit more at a defense that begs you to run at them a little bit more? They didn't. And that's a big reason why they're going home. And if good coaching is represented with 1 penalty for only 15 yards, 7 penalties, 48 yards for the Eagles. So I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be a rough one today for Sirianni and company on WIP. I mean, Philadelphia Sport. You're in Philadelphia, Larry. If you want to have the most fun you're going to have all year, turn on Philadelphia Sports Talk as you and Kevin make your way to the freaking airport today. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, I know. I mean, these people are coming. There's so many. There's nothing sweeter than winning on the road. I mean, my greatest 49er memories, a lot of them, I mean, I was there at Texas Stadium in 95 when the Niners rolled in as like 14-point dogs against Dallas and beat Dallas 31-17 or something with Derek LaVille and Elvis Gerback. That was incredible. But this topped it. This topped it because, Damon, there was so much adversity here. There was Kittle popped the Achilles. I mean, we even mentioned that. That's the most emotion. This is the leader of the team, and you get no time to react. It's like boop, pop the Achilles, cart him off, next play. And you know what though? The next play after that I think was one of the keys to this game.
Jennings, the crosser that he took for 30-something yards. Absolutely.
Because at the time, Niner fans knew once they call the cart, oh, this is bad. This is really bad. And for Kittle to go down like that in such an emotional moment, and you're sitting there going, what? Oh my God. And the place is, you're sitting there and you're reeling. And for Purdy, 2nd and 4 from the 29, and he rips it to JJ, and JJ goes for 45 yards. And the next thing, Niners are on the 26-yard line of the Eagles, and they had to settle for a field goal, which I also didn't think was the right call at the time. But you know, that was such a huge play because that play kind of got the Niners back into not woe is me, but we're going to do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
They went from, oh my God, to we're going to do this by hook or by crook. And it was awesome to watch, man.
Shanahan, now 9-4 in the postseason as head coach of the 49ers. He is 1-1 against the Eagles and 3-0, perfect in the wild card round. There are frustrating elements.
I thought it was 10-4. It's 9-4. I thought it was
9-4. Yeah. No, look, there are frustrating elements of Kyle Shanahan that are undeniable. The way that he seems to play favorites and the guys that he drafts don't get progressed enough to even make a blip. Guys that he's traded for that are really good players become afterthought. Like I cannot believe that Brian Robinson Jr. didn't get a play from scrimmage. I can't believe it. But he didn't, and I think that is another reason why the Niners made it a little bit harder on themselves than maybe that game would have been. I think Brian Robinson Jr. is a guy that I'd rather see running in between guards than Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey might want to see that too because McCaffrey gets blasted on those plays. It's like the Niners are throwing away 1st and 2nd down and setting up 3rd and long way too often. I would have liked to see Brian Robinson Jr. mixed in. Sky Moore, a guy who's been great on special teams for weeks now, really the whole year. I thought he made a special teams mistake when he fielded that punt. Inside what are you doing, Sky Moore?
Seriously,
what are you
doing? This is one I don't understand. I don't get this at all. Okay, I've seen this coached. I've seen coaches talk to their players. It's a real basic thing. It's like you put yourself at whatever yard line you want. And most people say it's the 10. Some people might say it's the 5. But you put yourself at the 10-yard line, let's say, and you don't move your feet. And if the ball goes over your head, you run forward and let it go. And he backed up off the 10 and caught it at the 8 or 6 or whatever it was. It's like, bro.
And another thing, too, Sky Moore bobbled the punt that was on the turf. And then he ran and scooped it. And don't do that. That's usually a recipe for a turnover more than it is, oh, you popped one. I mean, sometimes if there's just a little hesitation, blocks set up that might not have set up without that heartbeat. I get what he was doing. but he shouldn't have done it. It's lucky that didn't come back and beat the 49ers in that one moment alone. Football is chaos, man. It is. You can prepare as best you possibly can, but then the insanity of a game starts happening, and the pressure of moments are what guys crumble under or thrive in. And luckily, Brock Purdy seems to be a guy who thrives in those moments. And man, that guy, I got so much respect for how he goes about it and the way that he keeps on battling. Again, what more do you want? The guy has played 7 postseason games. He's got 4 game-winning fourth-quarter drives, and had Nick Bosa stopped Patrick Mahomes on a 4th down, he would have had 5 in a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I mean, he threw 2 picks last night, but I'll tell you, to me, it's amazing. There aren't that many quarterbacks that can flush 2 picks on the road and just be like, didn't happen. We're still going to let it rip. It's like,
who can't do that?
Amazing.
Justin Herbert. You see Justin Herbert just melt last night?
This is, lots of people, I've been saying that Purdy's better than Herbert for years, and people are like, oh my God, Krueger says that, it's like, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, but that's mine. But yeah, I mean, this was an incredible performance by the Niners and by Purdy. They got the right guy. They have the right guy at quarterback, and the team believes in him. And it's just it's about other things at this point. Let's move on to other things. You know what I mean? As far as talking about, is Purdy the right guy? Screw that conversation. Purdy is the right guy. The Niners may not have the right. I mean, there was a point yesterday, David, where I'm sitting. We were in the end zone in the corner, like the corner of the end zone. That's where they put us, and that's where the press box wrapped around to. And I'm looking at the backs of the Niner defensive front, and I'm thinking to myself, Jesus. At this point, it was like it might have been a snap where Collins and West were out, but it was like across the board. I'm looking at that front 7, and it was like Farrell, Keon White. Who else was in there? I forget who it was, but it was like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, then I'm looking at Wallow, Kendricks, and Curtis Robinson on the second level. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, the 49ers are in a game of their life on the road against the world champion Eagles, who have a ton of weapons and supposedly a really good offensive line. And they have a front 7 that they didn't plan to have at all. I mean, they didn't plan for this. I mean, these are not the guys they planned to have. So Robert Saleh, I mean, if Robert Saleh does not get a head coaching gig, something is seriously wrong.
Baltimore. If you're the Baltimore Ravens and you're not calling Robert Saleh, you are out of your minds. I would also think that in Miami they might be interested in him too. If I'm Saleh, I'm not attaching myself. By the way, Larry, the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Holy shit. That's might be the nicest football stadium I've ever been in. That thing is unbelievable. It's so much better than the Falcons will ever be. The Falcons don't deserve a stadium that nice. That's the stadium the Niners deserved.
Why? What's so cool about it?
Oh, it just, the way it's set up, the angles, the sight line, the way the noise is captured, that 360-degree scoreboard that hangs above it, the Oculus that never, I guess, really opens very much. Just it was very, very, very nicely set up. The concession prices, Larry, a double tall cocktail is $20 in Atlanta. It's $42 at Chase Center. There wasn't every beer is $8 or $12. Every single concession is priced around like $12. You're not going through a whole 20 if you're going to get like a Chick-fil-A and a drink, and there's Chick-fil-A's all over the place.
We're getting screwed in California, by the way. I mean, it's sick. I mean, gas here is like $1.70 less. This is Philadelphia. We're not talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, or something. Right. This is Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, they're going to pay almost $2 less per gallon than
we went out to lunch. We went out to lunch a couple times in a few places, and San Francisco is now officially home of the $40 entree. Every entree was $20. The steak frites was $28. That's a $41 meal in San Francisco. It is nuts. It is a little nuts. Now here's the deal: We do get nice weather. We do get a lot of things. I'm not moving to Atlanta or Philadelphia from San Francisco. I'm not complaining that much, but holy shit. I mean, it is nice to go to a sporting event that you paid an awful lot of money to be at and park in, and all that stuff is still high priced. But then when you walk in there, you don't need a rape whistle when you go to get a couple hot dogs and a beer.
Yeah, I'll say this though. I mean, I can't. It was 20 degrees last night. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention this to you. So JD and I are leaving the stadium last night, and obviously I streamed and we did the whole post game. So it's hours after the game, David. I mean, it's way, way late. We open a door to walk out from the main corridor of whatever level we were on, and there's double doors that have those that bar that unlocks the door generally, right? And you hit it, and then when it closes, it relocks. Well, we get into this room. This room was like maybe 30 feet by 30 feet. The door behind us locked, and the door in front of us was locked.
Oh, that's a little. Hey, now where are we? Who do we do? What do we call?
We were in a locked corridor of Lincoln Financial with no way out. I called Eskin because I'm like, Eskin's got to know people. So I called Eskin, the great Howard Eskin from WIP, and I'm like, Howard, this is where we're at. I sent a picture, and he's like, call security. I called security, no answer. We called 911 because we were there for 15, 20 minutes. Finally, we got a hold of Eric Branch, who is still writing for the Chronicle, and him and Noah Furtado came down and unlocked us from this room, or we'd still be there.
Oh my God,
still be there.
Well, I'm glad you and John Dickinson made it out. I am. So just getting through that parking lot and the vibes. I mean, I've already seen the video of Philly fans throwing solo cups half full of beers on Niner fans walking through. I will say this, Niners fans who did attend this game, you're a bunch of shit talking MFers too, and I do respect that. I really do. Look
at this comment. Larry almost got escorted to Big Dom's dungeon. Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like, dude. Oh, by the way, Big Dom is who got in between AJ Brown and Sirianni.
By the way, Big Dom had more catches in that game than Ricky Pearsall.
I know, but who thought that Big Dom would have to protect Sirianni from his own players?
Isn't that something, man?
Isn't that incredible?
Isn't that something? Can you imagine? Like, I just get what player would be the player to bow up to Shanahan, and how would that go? Like, would that player get cut the next day? Maybe, because the Niners aren't screwing around like that. When they saw just a crack of dissension in Devondre Campbell, and we never saw him again.
I'll give this. There was a great moment too, David, where I'm in the locker room interviewing Thomas Morstead, because he stuck one inside the 5. That was a great punt, by the way.
Great punt.
What the hell was that? It hit at the 5 and took a right turn. I mean, it was an amazing punt. I'm like, bro, I don't know how you did that. But did some interviews in the locker room. I'm going back to the interview room, and John Lynch is coming in, and he sees me coming out. He's like, oh, there. And I'm like, oh, John, man, that was a win. And we had kind of a brief embrace. And I've been critical of John Lynch's drafting, and I've been critical of John at times. But he knows my heart is in it, that I'm a Niner fan through and through. I want it bad, man. I want it bad. We've waited. I want it for my kids, dude. I want it for Kev. I want it for Ben. I want it for Chris. I want it for my daughter. I want it for all the young Niner fans. I'm 55, dude. I was there for Super Bowl 16 and 19 and 23 and 24 and 29. I've had 5 of these in my lifetime. I want it for you guys. I want it for the kid who's 18, for the guy who's 28, for the guy who's 32 and who just doesn't remember, never saw the Niners win a Super Bowl. I want this one bad, and I'm going to push as hard as I possibly can through my commentary, through what I say about this team. Everything that I do and say about this team is meant to entertain, but it's also meant to, I want to win. I want to win, and I want to see them win for the Niner fans. The Niner fans are awesome, man. Let's be honest. Niner fans are the best fans in the league. Nobody rolls around the country like Niner fans. It is unbelievable. The 49ers, I don't know how this was cultivated. It obviously was through generations, but there's a lot of people, Joe, Steve, Jerry, Ronnie, Harbaugh, Alex Smith, Kaepernick. There's a lot of people that deserve credit for the fact that the Niners have the best fan base. But I want this for this fan base, man. And I'm going to push as hard as I possibly can. And sometimes that's going to mean banging on Lynch and banging on Shanahan and calling out shit that I think is not right. But I want to win. And I think deep down, John Lynch, he knows who I am. And John and I have a good relationship. And the fact that he he knows that he understands that, guys like me are critical, but we're not critical to get our jollies. We're critical because we want to win and we want this team to win. So
your criticism is based in
be better.
And I think mine is too, is based in things that are actually happening. There's an awful lot of criticism out there that is based in like a fantasy or an agenda that gets eyeballs and views, and that's not what you and I do. And I think that's the difference between, are you a pro or are you just sort of a showman? And look, I tell you, there aren't a lot of guys who bring as many years to the table as you and I do as we sit around and watch this stuff. And I think it matters. I think, if you were around this team and covered this team when they were at their worst, at no point in time can you look at Shanahan or Brock Purdy and say, these guys, they're the major problem. But for these two, like if you think that they are the bullseye of the dartboard of the Niners' problems, you're out of your mind, and you've been out of your mind. You were out of your mind last year in a losing season. And, you can't say, geez, I guess they're good on the days they're in the divisional. Like at this point in time, yeah, whether you want them to be good or not, they are. Here they are. They're one of the few teams remaining standing, and that's the name of the game. Well, they had a bad schedule, and that's the reason why they're here. Fuck you. It's football. You don't get to pick your own schedule. It's the result of last year. Sometimes that works against you. Sometimes it works for you. To criticize the Niners for looking good against the Titans is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, none of this is easy. The presumption that any of this, should absolutely fall into plan, and this should happen. And look at this 4-game stretch. This 4-game stretch against Turkey, so therefore nothing could possibly go wrong. That's insane. It means you don't understand what you're even looking at, for Christ's sakes.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, it's not about what you pick. Some people pick the Niners to lose this game. I mean, there was all kinds of adversity here. I mean, it wasn't like, that,
picking
there
against
was a reason that the Niners were so jacked at the end of this game, because it was so unlikely. It was such an unlikely victory. But you know what? It's on to Seattle now. And it's like kind of like what Belichick used to, on to Seattle. We're on to Seattle.
Cincinnati.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Look, yeah, and that's a game where the Niners are going to go into it. And remember what we said: burn the tape. Burn the tape. What happened in Week 18 matters nothing to what is coming up in Seattle in the divisional. What really sucks is how the 49ers got jobbed here on short rest. That game is going to kick off on Saturday. That's just wrong. They got to fly back from Philly. They got a short week now for a team coming off a bye. That is just dirty pool NFL. And I saw that Tim Kawakami.
You know why?
No. So, I saw the reason that Kawakami offered up was that the 1 seed traditionally is the first game on the Saturday. You know what? What about football is married to tradition? Wouldn't you rather have a better game with a rested team and a fair sort of balance to a game than, to me, the NFL is nuts for having this game on Saturday when it could totally be Sunday. And the games that are coming up Sunday, if you move them to Saturday, that would be fine. They wouldn't be on the rest. There wouldn't be no short rest problem for those teams because they played on either Friday or they played on Saturday.
They're trying to give the 1 seed they don't want the 1 seed in the conference championship game to have short rest. That's what they're trying to avoid. But it also doesn't seem correct that, the 6 seed, when it's arbitrary like this, where you could, where the Niners played, why should they have to, on a Sunday, they're going to have a short week, where Seattle's got all kinds of time to sit around. I mean, it's another thing that's going to make this very difficult. And I don't know if the Niners can go to Seattle to win. I don't know. I'll say this, though.
It's hard to love them.
I feel good about it because Seattle's been better this year on the road. They really have been. And all year they've been better on the road. So we'll see. And the other thing is the Niners found something in this game. It's one thing if they just won the game, but they actually found something in this game. What did they find? Marquise Siegel. They also found Garrett Wallow and Eric Kendricks. When I say found, I mean they now have 2 young. They went from linebackers who were tired and beat up and falling off tackles and missing tackles, and who are younger players like Tatum Bethune, to older players, granted, but older, healthy, fresh players. And now that's a big difference. And then that's 3 guys in the middle of the field, and Siegel, Wallow, and Kendricks. And I was most impressed by Wallow to some degree because I consider him a special teamer, but there was no doubt that he was in his game plan. He was talking, he was moving, he was active, he's smart. I mean, there was a lot to like there. So I kind of feel like, yeah, you know what? The Niners are coming back against Seattle, but now they're coming back with 3 middle-of-the-field defenders that are healthy, rested, and fresh. And we'll see. Let's bring this one on.
Larry, I know we both on Friday was it Saturday? We did wake up. When I was in Atlanta, what day was that? I'm in a fog of travel and football bliss.
It was Friday.
Okay. We said we don't want to hear anything about Fred Warner. I do want to hear something about Fred Warner this week. Let's get an update officially because he said if the team's in the divisional, maybe. Let's turn that maybe into a little. I'd like to know where that maybe goes this week. I really would. Because come on, man, if that were to happen, God, and just speaking
it would
of
be a shot in the arm for sure. But
I feel so bad.
I don't want to see him do it. I don't. I care about this guy, man. I want to. This is a young man. I mean, if this were, I don't know who's an.
Hey, look at it this way, Larry. If the doctor clears him, the player plays. That's
if this were Eric Kendricks, like if this were somebody who was like, he's only got a year left, whatever. But what is Fred? Fred's got 5, 6, 7 years left. It's like, I don't want to see him. And I admire him for wanting to come back, and I would just push that off as long as I could. And I feel like Shanahan sees it the same way as I do, which is it's awesome, but you know what? It's a great story, but let's not get caught up on a story because it's only a great story if he comes back and plays well.
Well, like I said,
and he's a shadow of what he was in this game. That is actually is not a lift to the team. So I hear what you're saying, but I would say they're one more game away from that being a real conversation. But that would just be my guess. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Again, we'll see. So again, it's not normally a window that I'm looking through, and I agree with you. It's false hope is no good this time of year. But I don't know if this is false hope now. So maybe false hope becomes real. Let's find out. And just to get back to where, so much of the emotion just got let out of this game's balloon. The Kittle injury it just sucks so bad for that guy. And I hate to say it. That might be the last play he plays in a Niner uniform. We might not see George Kittle play again. I don't know, man.
Why? Why would you say that?
Because
what makes you think that?
If that's a torn Achilles, he doesn't play next year, basically.
I don't think he's going to play next year. I think he's out for next year. And it's like a Klay Thompson situation.
Right. And maybe that guy wants more. He wants to keep going, but George has also reached a point in his life where, he can, whatever George wants to do next, it's available to him. If George wants to go into the broadcast booth, he is going to shine there. If he wants to do a show, I hope so. I hope so. But at the same time, are the Niners going to reinvest? Is this the time to now trade him to move on from his thing? I mean, because football moves on, dude. Football moves on. Holding on to tight ends with as much tread off his tire, as injured as he's been over the last few years. I mean, the stark business of football that led to Dre Greenlaw, he gone, could lead to Kittle, that too. And Kittle's got obviously a level of scholarship that very few guys have ever had with this franchise. He is an all-time Niner. I hope he plays again.
Chad is all over the place with this thing. Here, we got this guy. Absolutely won't trade Kittle. This guy says...
Look at it this way. I'm sure he would have absolutely said won't trade Montana. Shit happens.
Brock Purdy, I tore my Achilles twice and healed in 4 months. This guy says Kittle and Boss are done as Niners, maybe another team. Yeah, right. This guy's like, I disagree. This guy agrees. I think Kittle is finished. So I don't know. Personally, I think George Kittle is going to be a lifelong Niner. I think he'll always be a Niner. He's not going to last forever, but I don't believe he'll be. I think he's going to be one of those guys that finishes as a Niner.
Dude, but here's the thing, Larry, he'd be coming back for his age 34 season. There's not a lot of good NFL stories in age 34 seasons.
I hear you. It's going to definitely be the dividing line between chapters of his career, but I think he'll be here. I think he comes back and has at least 2 more good years for the Niners.
I hope you're right. Like I said, I picked the Eagles hoping that I was wrong. Larry, in this regard, I hope you're right and I'm wrong. George Kittle is a forever guy. He really is. You want that guy. What about him do you not like as a football player? It's the rare answer of nothing. There's nothing about him I don't like. His attitude, the way he deals with the media, his teammates, the way he deals with fans, the way that he is just a ray of sunshine on dark and cloudy days. He's everything you need. You need one of those guys in your locker room, and you can play your entire career and not meet one of those guys in a locker room. He's so special. He's a Hall of Fame talent. An argument to be made that he is the greatest all-around tight end of all time. Other guys have caught more touchdowns and more passes and blah, 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 blah. They didn't block like this guy did. No, they did not block like this.
Great player. He's a great player. His swagger is their swagger. It's funny. When he was leaving the locker room, he's on the crutches and his wife's there and his family's there. And there'd be, so many dudes in that situation would be hanging their head or down. This guy understands that what he means to the team now, and he was up and in that room and cheering guys on, and and it's just somebody said they should have taken Tyler Warren. I think that's true. I think they should have taken Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren was the obvious stud pick, and they went with Mikel. But you know what? I'll tell you, somebody else in here said Kyle Pitts is a free agent. And, if I were the Niners, that's the guy I'd go get. Because they could play together when Kittle gets healthy in a couple years. Here we go. This guy said it. Eric says, go get Kyle Pitts this offseason, get help for Kittle. Yeah, I agree. I think Kyle Pitts is the right guy for.
I'm not paying premium for Kyle Pitts when I got Jake Tongas here. I'm not. I think Jake Tongas is the guy that I would start leaning into. And I think they better start leaning into him on Saturday in Seattle.
Kyle Pitts, though, is a really nice receiver who, 6'6". Tonjas is nice. Don't get me wrong. I like Tonjas, but they're going to need 3. I mean, look at Seattle. Seattle's got Parkinson, Ferguson, Davis Allen, Higbee, or the Rams. The Rams have Parkinson, Davis Allen, Higbee, and Ferguson. I mean, the Rams are, have 4 really good tight ends. Niners are obviously going to have to add a tight end because of Kittle, but Pitts to me is a guy that was super highly regarded coming out of Gainesville. didn't really do it at the early part of his career. Now this year really started to bust out, and I think he's going to have an amazing 3-year run here if he gets in the right offense with the right quarterback. And I think Kyle Pitts, you could pay him like this, and he could perform like that. So that would be the guy that I would go after. But I hear you about Tonjes. I mean, I'll say this: I didn't sweat the Kittle thing as much in the pass game because of Tonjes. He's not the run blocker that Kittle is, and neither is Farrell. But Tonjes is absolutely a reliable receiver. Absolutely.
Do you think Ricky Pearsall's playing in Seattle? Come on, Ricky.
I don't think so. And also at this point, here's the bigger question. Do you want to play Ricky Pearsall off of injury over D-Rob? I don't.
Well, here's the deal. I want to see if Ricky Pearsall can play, and the two of them can play on the field. They should have a 3 wide receiver set: Pearsall, Demarcus Robinson, and Juwan Jennings. I mean, you need more than just 2 wide receivers here. So,
right. I mean,
Ricky Pearsall. I mean, of course, we all know that if Pearsall does play, he's going to get hurt on the very first time he catches a ball. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for D. Robinson. But, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I'd love to see. I mean, it's time to report for duty if you can. Okay. I mean, that's where it is. This is the divisional round. And if you're a little sore, you're a little discomfort, that really doesn't matter very much anymore. You go this time of year. If you can go, you go. So
I'll obviously one thing about Ricky. I talking to a Niner person in the pregame, not on the air, but just in the corridor. This is a person that is pretty much in the know on the Niners. And he said to me, in the offseason, this team's going to trade Ricky Pearsall and Renardo Green.
Sounds good.
That's what
I don't have a problem.
Renardo Green played his ass off yesterday.
I thought Renardo had a pretty good game. Yeah. I wouldn't be trading Renardo Green, man. That's a tough position, and he got picked on all year long because no one was really throwing at Diamador Lenore most of the year. I would tread lightly around trading Renardo Green. Ricky Pearsall, I'm sorry to say it, this first rounder is just a guy based on ability and availability. So I got there's no gotta have Ricky Pearsall back in my mind because you're pretty damn good without him. Like he doesn't, I'm not going to sing any songs of Ricky Pearsall.
Oh, by the way, on the Renardo Green front, the Niners got another break in this game that I didn't think we were going to be talking about. There was a lot of talk in the pregame. I think we might have mentioned it on Friday that the officiating crew, the guy was from Williamsport, PA, right? Which is always kind of like, I don't know if that, would people be pissed in Philly if the head ref was from Cupertino? Yeah, probably. So whatever. But the more salient point on that ref crew is that his crew threw the second fewest flags of any crew in the league this year. And sure enough, dude, they let him play. And Renardo Green had 3 or 4 plays that the crowd was demanding a PI, and the flags didn't come. And to me, I like that, Damon, because unless it's egregious, and if it's egregious, then throw the flag. But unless it's egregious, let these guys play. I like games. I would much rather watch a game, whether my team's in it or not. I'm just talking about generally viewing the NFL. I'd rather watch an under-officiated game than an over-officiated game, both in the NBA and in the NFL.
Amen.
A little more hands-off, a little bit more laissez-faire, a little bit more, you know what I mean? A little bit more, just let it go. And I'm not saying let guys tackle guys, but let's not, throw the flag every time there's hand fighting. It's 25 degrees with the wind blowing. It's hard body control. This is not, Olympic gymnasts in a closed area and everything. There's got to be some wiggle room for a little bit of physicality in a football game. Would you agree? I mean, especially when the conditions get really wintry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you doubly when it comes to the NBA. Let players decide it, not decisions by officials.
The worst moment for the NFL in my lifetime, as far as this goes, was Rams Saints. That Rams Saints Remember that terrible call in the Rams Saints playoff game?
Oh, the blatant pass interference not called.
Right. Yeah. That was blatant. Okay. You got to call blatant calls, but you know what? I thought for the most part, if you go back when I watched it again late last night, granted it was 3:00 in the morning, but when I watched it again, I thought I saw hand fighting, but I didn't see anything that was like, oh shit, Renardo got away with murder there. You know what I mean? It was good. These were good non-calls.
Did you already get a little continental breakfast in you this morning? What are you doing? You hitting a little lunch before you get out of Philly?
No, I mean, I was, by the way, we went to Angelo's for the cheesesteaks.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the cheesesteak was really, really good at Angelo's. Kate Scott recommended it, so we went there. But the pepperoni pizza at Angelo's was absolutely the best pizza I've ever had. And I saw a couple of the Niner PR guys there. And so Zach, the Niner PR guy, was I think his last name's Teets or Tweets. I think it's Teets, actually. Zach
Teets.
Yeah. But
nice Teets on that guy.
I saw Zach in the press box and I'm like, hey, man, how did that cheesesteak treat you? And he's like, yeah, the cheesesteak was really good. I go, dude, that thing was a monster. I go, my son and I could have split one. It was like two gigantic sides to this thing. And then he walks a few steps away and he goes, but that pizza was amazing. He goes, I thought that was good, but the pizza was amazing. I said I thought the exact same thing. The pizza was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you, Angelo's. Thank you, Angelo's.
Yes.
I know we got a lot of supers. I know you want to get into them, but let me just say this. Brandon Ayuk, you're as big of a donkey as I've ever considered in my life. How is Brandon Ayuk? You think Brandon Ayuk was sitting around rooting for the Niners yesterday? I guarantee he was rooting against them. I guarantee you he wants them to fail without him. That's the kind of selfish look at me guy he is. He really seriously, like the fact that Brandon Ayuk cost himself millions of dollars already by, the guarantees being pulled back. He is costing himself more millions of dollars. Do you know the amount of targets he'd be getting right now? The amount of in the mix and in the media and profile rising and superstar creating and all accolades going to Brandon Ayuk. Like he would have gotten the ball, the touchdowns, the yards, the shine, the press. This guy is one of the biggest clown shows in a single season of decision-making in football. This guy is terribly advised, has no compass, has no, I would be looking at him as another GM totally cross-eyed for the rest of my life. How could you look at this Niner team and be like, I don't want to be a part of that? Not because they screwed me over. I don't want to be a part of that after they gave me everything I could have possibly wanted. That to me is going to stain his career. It's going to be like the oh man, what's the guy who turned down that huge extension from the Lakers and then didn't ever really make big money ever again.
Swaggy P?
No, Schroeder, Dennis Schroeder. He's like, I'm the man. I'm gonna turn down what the Celtics offer me, like $68 million. Not even interested in that. Or no, I think he like, dude. Brandon Ayuk was broken off top of the food chain money.
There's no reason. Unhappy. There's no reason we need to talk about him. All I'll say though is George went down, and guess who sent a tweet saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about you, bro." Debo. Did Ayuk send one?
No.
So nothing against Ayuk, but you know what? Slow the fuck down, and good luck to you wherever you go.
That's right, real quick. Lakers offered him $84 million, and he turned around and signed like a 1-year deal for $8 million.
Tyler, by the way, Tyler Pandia says, Krug, thanks for making the video for my dad. Oh man, I love it. And by the way, I just want to mention this. I'm on Cameo, right? And so I do get a lot of cameos. And of course I get them during the Niners season. And I have one for today from a guy who wants me to record a thing, and it expires in 4 hours and 47 minutes. And I could easily do this Cameo. I've been staring at it for 4 days, but he's asking me to record it with my studio setup. And as you can tell, I'm in Philly. So Unfortunately, I'm going to have to let this cameo expire. Or I guess I could do it, but I'm not going to do it in Philly. I mean, I'm in Philly. I can't do my studio setup. I know you want me to introduce your basketball team in our studio setup, so it looks kind of like more like a big time thing than just me sitting here in my Airbnb in Philly. So I don't know what to say, but for that guy who asked me for a cameo, I'm probably going to have to let that expire. So anyway, sorry about that. But if you do want to hit me up on Cameo to talk trash to your friends, I get a lot of that now, David. Hey, my buddy's a big Seahawk fan, Krug. Talk trash to this guy for like 45 seconds, so it's kind of weird. I'll be standing there in the kitchen. I'll be like, hey, your Seahawks are fucking crap. And so my wife will be like, who are you talking to?
What are you charging for cameos, Krueger?
Oh, not very much. Like $20.
Okay,
$20.
good. I was to get $150 to have Larry Krueger say your Seahawks suck. I don't know if you get value there. 20 maybe.
$20, but you know what? I saw Kevin from The Office. He's charging like $250. I'm like, dude, you're just you're like the fifth best character in that show, and you're charging $250 to.
Yeah, dude, do you know how much money those characters made throughout the years and their residual checks and all the reruns they're getting? Yeah, if I'm not him, I'm not pushing send on anything for under $250. Come on. $250 is $20 to Kev from The Office.
Maybe I should up my price on Cameo. We'll see.
You just knocked your audio out, Krueger.
Did I?
There you go. Now it's back. Back.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So, but yeah, we've had a great time here, and it's been incredible. Having a great time. I'm glad we came. We covered the Niners all year. That looked like they were going to get their ass kicked, and I'm like, you know what, Kev? Let's just do it. Let's go. And you know what? This has been an awesome experience, and someone said it's Radnich on Cameo. No, I don't think he is, but that would be a good one. But yeah, wait a second. Here we go. Larry, can I pay you $20 to leave a message on my phone? Can you whisper creepy sweet nothings? Hey, how you doing? Ooh, yeah. $20. All right. Should we get through the supers here? Should we hit them? Oh, wait a second. Now something is wrong.
There we go. No, I'm okay. No, I got.
Oh, you were muted. Okay, here we go. We got this one. Howdy, says Larry and Kevin, the good luck charms. All right, here we go. How about this? I'll pull them up. You just read them.
All right. Wondered before the playoffs if Shanny was keeping a secret bag of plays in just for the playoffs. And after yesterday, I think the answer was yes. Yeah, dude, absolutely. That guy has been, look at it this way. Who do you think draws on back of napkins more than Kyle Shanahan, right? I mean, that guy's got to be thinking of offense at all times. And yeah, we got into the stack of special plays yesterday. We saw one of them.
Well, here's the other question, David. I mean, do you believe that coaches have a prime? Because if so, wouldn't Shanahan be in it? Because, he's the son of a coach, so he got an opportunity that many young men would never get. And he probably, I don't want to say didn't deserve it. I think he deserved it, but he was young. And a lot of guys are still coordinators or quarterback coaches or whatever when he was a head coach. And now here he is. Now he's actually at the age where he's kind of in the prime of his career. Like when I look at John Harbaugh, I think, here's a guy that might be a little past his prime. I'm looking at Andy Reid, and I'm like, I wonder if he still has the same fastball. But Shanahan right now should be in whatever the coaching prime is.
Look, Shanahan is at the age where a lot of head coaches get their first opportunity to be a head coach. He's 46 years old.
Right.
And he's already been, the Niners head coach for a decade going into the next year, right? So that is, he started young. He's certainly taken a few licks, and he's learned a lot along the way. And I don't, here's the thing. If you need to see Kyle Shanahan to hold a Lombardi trophy before you admit he's a good coach, you don't know what you're talking about. You're on the bunny slope of sports understanding. This guy is outstanding at his job. His shortcomings, yeah, we can see him. We're not saying he's perfect, but in a world where a third of the league fires their coaches every year, you'd be moronic to want Kyle Shanahan replaced with who?
There was a guy in my fraternity in college. and he had his girlfriend was gorgeous, and he was just a totally marginal looking guy. And every single time we got together for beers, he was constantly bitching about his hot girlfriend. Oh, I can't stand her. Oh my God. She did this, she did that. And after a while, I'm like, bro, first of all, you're you're dating above your skill level here. You're probably an overachiever. You probably should either, if you hate her that much, just dump her. And he's like, dude, she's beautiful. I'm like, yeah, well then shut up.
Right.
I don't want to hear about how terrible she is. And I feel like the same thing. When I hear people bagging on Shanahan, I just feel like saying, shut up. Shut up. Because who do you prefer? There's a lot of coaches out there. Who do you prefer? I
hated that 2-minute drill before the half. I don't like the way Kyle uses his running backs, but okay, he's in another divisional round. So I guess at least for this week, I'll pipe down on what I don't like because I didn't think they were going to get out of Philadelphia alive, and they're still breathing.
Supposedly John Harbaugh has 7 offers right now. That's 7 teams want John Harbaugh. How many teams do you think would come calling tomorrow if the Niners decided, like in some petulant fit, that they were going to fire Kyle Shanahan, kind of the way they did with Jim Harbaugh? There would be 3 other coaches fired the same day just from teams being like, hey, wait a second, we might be able to get Shanahan? See ya, Canales.
Yeah, by the way, you want to know what the scariest coaching hire of this cycle is so far? Mike McDaniel, offensive coordinator, Detroit. He's got toys and weapons to play with up there. Look out for the Lions next year on that hire alone.
That's a good one. Again, says, go tell Bradley Cooper his commercials suck. He's an Eagle fan. Ryan says, Larry, you were right. The fans turned on their team, but even worse, their head coach turned on his players. Sirianni is a joke. Yes.
I mean, I don't know where that turn happened, but obviously there's something rotten between, like AJ Green's gone, right? Either one, AJ Green or Sirianni is not going to be an Eagle next year.
Yeah. You mean AJ Brown, but yeah.
AJ Brown, Green, whatever.
There is an AJ Green who was also a pretty good receiver. Fuji Simeon says, how was the media food, Larry? How was Philly? I kind of thought the media food was actually pretty bad, but Philly's been great. Philly's amazing.
Here's the thing. I will say this. If you're from the Bay Area and you talk about, like, why would you pay to live in San Francisco? If you're from the Bay Area, food tourism is a tough thing. Like, food doesn't get better than it is right here at home. It really doesn't. So it's, you usually go someplace and you're like, that was good, but it wasn't great.
San Francisco's maybe one of the best restaurant towns in the country. Maybe that's a fact. Fuji says, thanks for hosting yesterday's live stream, Damon.
It was my pleasure. We had our biggest audience that we've had for a live stream since the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. It was an awful lot of fun. Nearly 200 supers when it was all said and done. So it was a fun day for the channel for sure. We had a good time.
People love their live streams. Fuji says, but Cam Newton said Purdy is a manager, not a changer.
I bet he was wearing a lovely hat as he said that.
Yeah, Cam Newton falling a fumble. Christopher says Purdy threw 2 interceptions. Time to start Jennings at quarterback.
Oh, dude, I mean, in the first interception, someone's like, go to Mac, go Mac Jones, get Mac Jones. And they're like, come on.
Though I do believe in Mac Jones, but
yeah.
Baby Radiance. Good morning, fellas. Niners for life. Love it. Ryan says, if I'm Kyle, I'm showing that JJ throw hard hit on a loop to a certain wide receiver rhymes with Schmearsall.
All I can tell you is if that guy can give it the office, he better damn well go at the office, man. He better.
Dude, if I was a wide receiver on this team, I would have a hard time sitting out ever with JJ playing with cracked ribs, taking hits from Jalen Carter in 20 degrees, and I'm sitting somewhere watching. Come on. Fuji says JJ is a tough SOB. Your take if Pearsall plays. I think Pearsall's injury is more serious than we believe. I mean, let's be totally honest about this. Yes, am I frustrated that Ricky's not out there? Yes. But do I think he's janking it? No. I think that PCL injury is a hard injury to come back from.
They need to represent his status a little bit better than the team is doing him no favors.
Right. Well, I think they're hoping that, that he could get out there. But you know what? Last week when people were like, he was running routes, there was a report, David, one day that I was there, right there for the entire thing. And people were like, yeah, he was there running routes. And I'm like, dude, that's not routes. He was on the sidelines in warm-up, jogging up and down, straight and back. There was no routes at all. No routes. And yet people are like, he was running routes. I heard it. I saw it. Somebody tweeted it. I'm like, well, those people are lying because he wasn't running routes. So, and think about it this way. Whoever tweeted he was running routes, you probably should unfollow them. Why? Because if he was running routes on Tuesday and Wednesday in Santa Clara, then why couldn't he get out there for the game on the weekend? He wasn't running routes. So that I think there's people that are misreporting his status during the week, and then the expectations rise. And the reality was he can't cut on that thing. He's jogging. This is a tough guy. I don't believe that Ricky is soft. I really don't. I think Ricky wants it and is a good guy and a good player.
Well, a couple weeks ago, you were leading the Ricky soft parade.
No. I think Ricky. I mean, it bothers me that Ricky's not out there. I mean, and I think he ought to get out there, and just give what he's got. But here's the scenario: I wouldn't if in his situation, because in his situation you have Demarcus Robinson sitting right there, and when he's there, Demarcus Robinson last year scored 7 touchdowns. 7. Ricky Pearsall hasn't scored a single touchdown this year, so I'm not benching Demarcus Robinson against Seattle for Ricky Pearsall. And I don't think the Niners should either. I really don't. But I'm tired. I'm done banging on. I'm not going to call out Ricky and be like, the injury's not legit. I've talked to a couple people in the last 24 hours who have said that PCL injury makes it virtually impossible to cut laterally. So I'm giving him more benefit of the doubt. You're right. I have been calling him soft. I have been calling him out. I got to stop that, because the reality is he's not soft. He's just he's not getting out there, and I want him out there, but he's not soft. Joseph Erdberg says, I picked the Niners. This is a successful season. Yeah, by the way, I didn't even hit that. I said the Niners had to make the playoffs and win a playoff game. They made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. Now, David, I believe no matter what happens, this has been a successful season.
I mean, I think under the circumstances, it was a successful season, period. I mean, and now this is just the gravy poured on top of that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm impressed by this year. I thought it was a remarkable year for Shanahan. I know that everybody sort of came off of that talking point after the embarrassing loss to Seattle, but I think everyone should be back on that talking point after that win in Philadelphia. And look, they could have still lost that game. I mean, it's not like they just went out and whipped the Eagles' ass in any way, shape, or form. They survived that game. So go survive another game, then get into, here's the thing. Watch this team actually get to the Super Bowl and then run into like, oh man, the Houston Texans defense in the Super Bowl, and Shanahan loses the Super Bowl at home, and he's a bum, he can't win a big game is going to all be back. And
it's funny that you would say that. It's funny you would say that, David, because I kind of could picture that. I really could picture the Texans getting there. I really could. Tan DK Hunting says, LaShawn Shady McCoy said, if Brock Purdy was on the Eagles, they win that game by 10 points. Brock throws some questionable stuff, but his ability to shrug it off and go sling it on a game-winning drive, it's insane. No, I know. It's amazing.
Yeah, McCoy called out Hurts basically in that statement.
Yeah. Which, that's probably unfair. I mean, I think it has more to do with their offensive coordinator and their dysfunction than Hurts. But, yeah, can we all say it loud for everybody to hear, even the people in the back? Brock Purdy is better than Jalen Hurts. Yes, Jalen Hurts has a ring. Trent Dilfer has a ring. Dan Marino doesn't. Dan Marino's better than Trent Dilfer, okay? So Brock Purdy's better than Jalen Hurts. I've seen enough. There's no doubt in my mind he's better. Fuji Simeon says, get well soon, Kittle. Does Juice get more targets? Yeah, I think you might see juice at
I think I think this guy absolutely paid for his contract in that Philadelphia game. Like we talked about, do you really need the highest paid fullback in football? They do now.
I actually think this is maybe one of Juice's best years with the Niners. I mean, was not in favor of re-signing him, but looking back, that was a stupid thought because he's a Pro Bowl fullback, and there aren't any. So, like, who are you going to get to replace him? It's not like you get Daryl Johnston, go get Moose. There aren't any fullbacks.
Lorenzo Neal, unavailable.
Yeah, Tom Rathman. Dale says forcing Hurts to win the game was the play. He can't do it. Forcing him to throw over the middle was the key to the game. I also felt like Demo Lenore on the boundary against A.J. Brown also was key, and trying to take away Hurts's first read. They did that a few times, made him scan the field. I thought that was good. The Niners felt like if they could make Hurts make plays from the pocket, they were going to have a great chance. And they did, and they won.
And look, AJ Brown dropping AJ. Let's just go with AJ. He lost that game as much as the Niners won it.
He's traded too. He's also traded. Don't you think he's gonna be traded?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna be traded. There's some bad. I don't know what his issue is, but obviously he's got one. Dr. Rockman says Shanahan's big knock has been he can't come from behind, but 4 postseason game-winning drives with Purdy in basically 3 seasons. People need to acknowledge greatness can manifest in a number of ways. It's time. Okay, I'm glad Dr. Rockman, I'm glad you went with this super chat. I get it. People love their stats, but when you have a stat that reveals something that we saw, what means more to you? The regular season or the postseason? If a guy does something in the regular season or doesn't do something in the regular season, but does do it in the postseason, what do you think the Niners did against Green Bay? What do you think the Niners did against Detroit? They came from behind in the playoffs and won. So this knock that Shanahan can't come from behind is bullshit. I mean, that is a regular season stat. Does it look good? No. But he had Jimmy G a lot of those years. He had some pretty shitball quarterbacks.
And let me just also say, Larry, I've seen this stat, and Kyle is the worst among his peers, but the best among his peers is still coming in with like a 210 winning percentage in that scenario. Down fourth quarter in an NFL game by 10 points means you are losing that game no matter what you got, no matter who you are, like 80% of the time.
Yeah. This is not a super, but Joe Sullivan, 84, says Larry called it on this show like a month ago. I'm not even sure what it was, Joe, but thank you. Dale says, why didn't Hurts run the effing ball? Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Hurts didn't run more often. Very odd.
And by the way, just to get back to like criticism and hand selecting numbers, let's hand select this number. Bill Walsh and George Seifert have won 10 playoff games each. Each of them has won 10 games. Walsh has the slightly higher winning percentage because Walsh went 10-4. Seifert went 10-5. Kyle Shanahan is 9-4. He is the 3rd winningest postseason coach in franchise history behind 2 guys who are Hall of Famers. And he is the 3rd winningest coach in regular season history behind, one guy is arguably as great a head coach that has ever breathed. And Seifert is the other guy, and no one's got anything bad to say about him. So, I mean, we've seen other good coaches come through here and have no shot of any modicum of success that Shanahan has had. Someone's like, the Niners are bums. Shanahan's a bum. Since 2019, the 49ers have the 4th highest winning percentage in football. Someone's like, the 49ers are trash. No, they're not. No, they're not. Who's ever feeding you information? That's the trash man in this equation. Haven't won a Super Bowl. Sure, but 4th highest winning percentage since 2019. And if you're saying that doesn't mean anything to me, then pick another sport, dude. Pick another. You don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, once again, if the Niners fired Shanahan today, he'd have another job before lunch.
Look at it this way. He would have more offers than John Harbaugh.
Yes. The guys who made offers to John Harbaugh would recant those offers and offer it to Shanahan. Gizmo Maltese, will Nick Martin play? How bad can he be? It's not that he's bad. He's going to be a player. I mean, D. Winters didn't do anything as a rookie. There are guys that don't do anything as rookies. Nick
Martin is on the IR. I mean, here's the thing. Maybe
he's
they
not coming back.
Practice window, but I don't think so. It's over.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, no. Though I do believe he could come back for the Seattle game. So as far as the practice squad duration, that he has to be. You have to be in the practice squad a certain amount of time. This time now has elapsed, so he could, in theory, if they wanted to, activate him for the Seattle game. So it will be a question that will be asked this week. I guarantee you. D-Lo says, y'all said the Niners had one big performance in them. I was saying that all week. Was that it? Yes, I do believe it is. Did they leave meat on the bone, or am I coping? What's that? Coping? Am I
coping by hoping they owe us another best performance of the season? Could it come Seattle Sunday? Well, first of all, they're playing Saturday in Seattle, which, again, just the league doing this game no favors.
I think they have a shot. I think they got a shot.
Larry, they can beat any division opponent can beat any division opponent, period. And it's just how it goes. They have a shot in Seattle. Is it a great shot? No, it's not a great shot, but they got a shot in Seattle. Of course they do.
Yep. I totally agree. They have a shot. It's not a great shot, but they have a definite shot.
They played the team twice. They're 1-1. That screams got a shot to me.
Well, not only that, they've played this offense that they're going against twice, and both times they allowed 13 points. Robert Saleh, if his defense allows 13 points, do you think the Niners are going to win? If the 49ers give up 13 points in Seattle, they will win in Seattle on Saturday. Book it. D-Lo says also, throw Damon some supers. Thanks.
All right, D-Lo. Here we go.
Fuji says clock management and hurry up offense need to improve. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. And the timeouts. I mean, the Niners took terrible timeouts. The timeout usage, the end of the clock, the end of the first half. It
was atrocious.
They wasted
2-minute drill.
JJ made mistakes. Kyle made mistakes. Purdy made mistakes. I mean, it was really tough to watch. I mean, if they had lost this game, man, that would have been rough. We got this one. Is Jake Tonjes our tight end one next year? Well, he is for the moment.
Leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to get stronger if he's going to be tight end one, that's for sure. But he's a hell of a player. Soulful Sound Station. This postseason reminds me of 2021 when we blocked the punt at Green Bay. That was a Jordan Willis deal. Then we were a tart interception away from the Super Bowl. Stopped the run. Brock Purdy, no picks, and we beat Seattle.
And here's the thing. The Darnold mistake is coming. It didn't come in the week 18-7 or the week 17 game. It didn't happen then. But he almost fumbled and put one on the ground, and it was somewhat, was it Yetur Gross? By the way, Yetur Gross-Matos played well yesterday. He did.
Did he?
He did. Yes.
He played defensive end a lot, huh?
Yes. He played out of position and he gave his all, man. That guy didn't mail that one in. I'll give him that much.
Good. I didn't see him. I didn't notice him that much. I saw him out there on the Bunnocks at left defensive end. He's been playing a lot in the interior, but not this game. They used him at defensive end, and I'm glad to hear that you thought he played well because you were kind of rough on him last week. We got this one, San Fran Trader. Hopefully a lot of 40 SF fans travel to Seattle to attend. Oh, you come on, man. There were tons of Niner fans in Philly, though not as many as you'd see in other stadiums. But yeah, I think the Niners.
The playoffs aren't a game that you usually sell. You go to that game if you're a fan, so it's going to be harder to get the red in there. But it'll creep in. It'll happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If we can go, I don't know if we're going to be able to go or not. If we can go, man, I would be super excited to be up there. I've never been inside that stadium before, and I'd love to see the Niners beat Seattle up there. I almost feel like I need to go. Dobie DM says, F you, Larry. Hendricks was huge. Mike actually moving the linemen and getting guys in position. Rookies are developing. We beat Seattle 24-17. Ooh, I like that. I think you meant Kendricks, but yes, Kendricks was absolutely huge.
But it's in Seattle, so you can say Jimi Hendrix because he was from Seattle, so that's okay.
Barry Ford, Memphis. My money says Kittle retires as a 49er. I would probably agree, but it's hard. I'll say this, man. It's pretty rare these days that anybody goes start to finish with one team, but I know the Niners would want that to be a reality. And George, they're going to take care of George. I think he's in a special category. I think he's going to be here, but football's hard. Football's hard, and it's hard to keep guys around. What does that say? Ooh, is this one of your sayings? This isn't oi oi oi, is it?
No, it's just an ooh yeah. That's not an official oi oi oi.
I was going to say that's not the correct spelling of oi oi oi. Same guy who told me Niners don't suck, saying Kittle probably played his last game as a 49er is laughable. Dude is only 32. Look at how long Ertz played.
Again, he's going to be 34 coming off an Achilles. It's better to say goodbye a year too early than a year too late. Bill Walsh told you that. A year too late at George Kittle. I mean, business decisions get made, man. He's beloved. He's got all the, cachet and credit in the world. But I don't like guys who have Achilles pop.
Be careful. Be careful how you tread on George. I don't want to see you slip under the 50,000 subs. We went backwards. We had 50,000 subs. We were on our way to 51,000, and all of a sudden we ripped George.
If you're telling me Xanadu's open, yeah, let's go to Xanadu. I'm usually in reality. That's where I spend most of my time in reality, and my thoughts are formed in reality. And cutting. How about this? If
Xanadu, is that the Olivia
well, Xanadu is also yes. The Xanadu is the name of the roller rink in the movie Xanadu, but Xanadu is also a mythical place. It's Valhalla. It's Xanadu.
Right. No, I get
and
that.
Look, I'm just saying. How about this? Let's take George Kittle's name out of it. How much do you think you're going to get out of a guy with a popped Achilles at the age of 34? If you think the answer is a lot,
he's a great blocker. Well, he's a great blocker. So, I mean, I hear you, but this isn't Colston Loveland. This is a great blocker. By the way, how great was Colston Loveland?
First of all, you wish you had Colston Loveland. He was pretty fucking good, man.
He's good. I wish we had Tyler Ward. Barry Ford, Memphis. Kittle has tons of commercial endorsements and will be a great broadcaster. He'll be just fine as a forever 49er.
I mean, that's the thing, too. He could go to the WWE. The guy, wherever he wants to take his career, he can take it there. George Kittle can make more money in one broadcaster contract than he made in his last contract with the Niners, the way the broadcaster's getting paid these days.
The guy lives in Iowa. The guy lives in Nashville, I should say. You know how much money, how big of spread you could buy in Nashville for reasonable
He's already
money?
got it.
Yeah,
he's good. He's got a barn that he converted into a freaking workout room.
Yeah. Yeah, George is going to be just fine. Blue Blood Sports TV says the unfortunate truth is we need to put heavy efforts to sign Kyle Pitts now with George Kittle's terrible injury. We'll see. We'll take a look at that thing. But I saw the free agent list of tight ends, and Pitts was on there, and I'm like, man, Pitts would be nice. Lyle Bolliard, it's bullshit that the 49ers got screwed on another short week. Now this week we need Pearsall. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Hey, look, I don't like to just talk like, here's a cron headline that I saw, like dumb local newscasters will be like, rest versus rust. Maybe a little rust does help the 49ers. They're playing, keeping their dreams alive football. It's been a long time since the Seahawks have played a football game. That can be no bueno for some football teams.
Jack Parada's in the house. He says, I couldn't agree with you more or agree more with you on that Ayuk take. What's that?
Payaso? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. I try not to say words. I don't know what they mean. Barry Ford, Memphis, but thank you for that, Jack Parada. Larry, Airbnb is our preferred lodging choice.
Is a Spanish word for clown. There you go. It's usually used colloquially as a foolish or goofy person. So there you go.
There you go.
We learned something today, Larry.
Hey, Barry Ford, Memphis, Larry, Airbnb is our preferred lodging choice too. Yeah, it has to do with my snoring. Kev doesn't want to, we gotta get 2 rooms and the whole deal. Actually, I kind of like the Airbnb situation. We found 2 amazing Airbnbs, one in New Orleans and one here in Philly, and I'm really good, really very happy with it. We got this one, Fuji, Larry, January 16th, SI versus SH in the Bruce Mahoney game. Do I need to say it? SH, you're phony. We got the Bruce Mahoney. We are SI. Do we? Hey, you, there's nothing you can do. I said you just can't stop that cat machine. We're coming for you, SH. Someday you'll work for us. Jesse said, Kyle is a great coach, but I don't want him to be a Marv Levy. I just remember Tom Sula and Chip Kelly, Mike Singletary. He doesn't want him to be like never win. I get you.
Yeah.
But just the fact that you had Tom Sula and Chip Kelly before him and Singletary probably should be motivation to not dump him.
By the way, we got to take Tom Sula off that list. He was a better coach than Mike Singletary or Chip Kelly. He really was.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tom Sewell's a position coach. It would be like if you took Chris Kasarik and you made him the head coach. I mean, and it wasn't successful. Would he be a shitty coach? No, he's a great coach. He's a great D-line coach. He's not a great head coach, but he's a great D-line coach. Roku said Brad dropped a video of Fred moving good on Instagram. Okay, I'll look for it.
Moving well, thank you.
We paid Dion in cash, became a YouTube member. A little clap there. Brock Purdy is clutch. Go Niners. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. How happy are you as a Niner fan to have Brock Purdy as your quarterback? I mean, does anybody have a better situation than the Niners right now? You got a quarterback you can win with. Oh, wait a second. You've got two. Because if they knocked out Brock Purdy, here comes Mac Jones, and Mac Jones can flat out play. We know it. Jimmy Jaw said, happy birthday.
If Mac Jones were playing for the Eagles yesterday, I bet they beat the Niners.
Jimmy Jaw. Love you, Jimmy. He says, happy birthday, LD. Love you, brother. Yes, today is my 56th birthday.
No, you buried the lead. Hey, Larry, happy birthday, man.
56th birthday, January 12th, 1970. Carol and George Krueger welcomed their third child into the world. It happened to be this shit disturber kid. And, I made their life miserable for as many years as they were here. And
LD, who's LD? What's your middle name?
LD is what my friends called me in college. When you should know this actually, because you were our producer. My first radio show, I went by the L Dog. Remember that?
You remember that? God,
it was L Dog. It was
Mr. H.
L Dog and Mr. H. And so a lot of my buddies from college, because that's when my career got going, kind of knew me, have been calling me LD for a long time. So, I got my buddy Jason, my buddy Jimmy, a bunch of my friends called me LD.
Larry, I had no idea. I'm doing, my show at 11 a.m. today, and I will include you in my happy birthdays that I do before today in history. Happy birthday, Larry Krueger. I mean it, man. Happy birthday, brother. You meant a lot to me. So have a great one today. Look at this one. You're going to have a great one today. The Niners arranged that for you yesterday.
Seriously. Thank you, brother. And, what can I say? I've learned a lot in 56 years. What I've learned most is marry the right woman. Don't be afraid to apologize. Honey, you're right. That's a great idea. Things like that. Listen to Kev. I've learned several things through time. Don't try to be an expert. Don't try to be everything to everybody, but try to be something to somebody. These are my lessons of life after 56 years. We got this one. Thank you, Jimmy, though. Appreciate you, bro. What does I say? Poslin P-Town. So happy we finally have a quarterback that Kyle trusts, and hopefully a decade plus.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But there is a serious trust that those two guys have in each other, and why wouldn't I? That's the thing. I think Kyle's always looking for his next dance partner. I think he's finally dancing with the quarterback. And he's staring into that guy's eyes. He's not looking over his shoulder for the next. He spent too much of his career doing that. He's got a guy that he knows he can win with. He's got a guy that he is winning with. It's not theoretical. It's happening. So
it's crazy, isn't it? It's like the 49ers were like in an arranged marriage with Trey Lance, and instead they fell in love with some girl they just bumped into in in a hallway or something. And
It's the
now
Princess Bride, Larry. It's the Princess Bride.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Brock Purdy appeared, and he has been the man ever since. And I'll say this, man. I don't know a lot. I really don't. I don't know much about history. I don't know much, but I do know this. I know football personnel, and I told you guys early on. I remember sitting at 95.7 the game, and Bonte and Shasky. I think I was going to be filling in with Willard, and we were facing off, and Bonte ripped Brock Purdy. And I said, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. I go, that guy's a player. He's not a backup. He's much more than a backup. And he's like, all right. And Bonte and I joke about it sometimes, but I saw it. I mean, I didn't see it on draft day. I was mad on draft day that they drafted him. But once I saw my buddy's scouting video, a breakdown of this guy, I'm like, shit, they got something. And by the time they got to minicamp, I was convinced. And by the time they got to training camp, I was absolutely convinced. And then when they got to the preseason and this guy was running the play clock in his first start down to 0 to get plays off so we could beat the Minnesota Vikings or whoever it was in August in some meaningless game, I looked at Tim Ryan the next day and I'm like, dude, what was that? He's like, that was football 5.0 from a quarterback who's a rookie in his first preseason game. That was absolutely noticeable. And, I was on Purdy. I don't know a lot, but I was on Purdy. Dale says, why are most wide receivers mental cases? Well, it's a combination of you need big-time athleticism, and you're out there on the island, and guess what? And I'll say this is another scouting axiom. I don't like arrogant people, except wide receivers and corners. Why? And talk show hosts, because you need arrogance to be good on the island, at corner, at wide receiver, and you need arrogance and confidence to stand in front of a microphone and bring it every single day. So I know we don't like it, right? We don't like people that talk a big game. We don't like, but you know what? It comes with the territory. You have to have that crazy confidence to make it in the NFL. So I don't want it. My offense, if I got an offensive lineman who's big ego, that's a problem. But if I got a corner who thinks that his shit doesn't stink, if I got a receiver that thinks he's God's gift to the world, if I'm a program director and I got a talk show host that thinks he's, every word that comes out of his mouth is gold, you know what? It comes with the territory, man. You got to know what it takes to do the job before you can sit there and critique the traits that go along with it. So,
I mean, there's so much, though. It really is. It's so common a trait that there must be something to it, right? You don't have any other position fall uniformly in line quite with a trait like wide receiver does. So there is something to it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're the only person on the field. The tight end doesn't do this. The running back basically doesn't do this. They're the only players on the field typically that are like, get me the ball. Get me the ball. Right. Nobody is saying me anywhere. The kicker is not being like, hey, man, get me my kicks. Nobody says that. Nobody D linemen's like, get me my – no. It's get me the damn ball. I'm a receiver. Dan Coach Emilio, happy birthday, Larry. Enjoy your pickle today. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you, brother. Good luck to Dan, NorCal Sports Network. It's growing. Anthony says Brock is surgical with time and space, but with a mid-O line in his height, he panics and throws blindly. Kyle needs to invest in an O-line and utilizing Purdy's legs. Yeah, there's no question. The Niners need to build that fortress. Imagine how good Brock Purdy would be if he did have a big, dominant line in front of him. And
they just opened up running lanes for his running back all day long. Never forget, the running back, quarterback's best friend is that running back.
If he had to do what Jalen Hurts had to do last year, he would have won the Super Bowl. If the Niners could build up their defense, special teams, and O-line, Brock Purdy was going to win you multiple rings. I really believe that.
Brock Purdy behind Detroit's offensive line.
Yeah.
Bet you they win that NFC title game in San Francisco.
Yeah. Anthony says Brock is – oh, we got that one.
Just did it.
We just did that one. Let me move down. We got a lot of these today.
By the way, I love how you said, Damon, you're going to read them. I read one, and then you just took over.
Well, we need to get a pace going here. I know.
Yeah.
Mark Gravy Graves. Happy birthday, Mr. Pig in a Pickle Krueger. Thank you, Mark. We're coming to spring training. Somehow, some way, I'm going to be out there. Dale says, some Niner fans forget the dark days. Erickson, Nolan, Singletary, Tom Sula, Kelly. They were the worst. I know. Yeah, seriously. When you're on top, that's what happens. People forget how bad things were. You'll remember if all of a sudden Kyle Shanahan's gone. Barry Ford, Memphis says, flying sick sucks big time. Get well soon, Larry. Yeah, well, you know what? I had somebody yell at me the other day and say, oh, I can't believe you're flying with a cold. Well, you know what? It's not really a cold as much as I have nasal congestion, but I will definitely cover myself up and wear a mask. Fuji Simeons and Seahawks organization trying to crack down on ticket holders from selling tickets for the playoff games, as there are as many 49er fans live in Seattle. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of Niner fans. I know the Niner fans will find their way in. Awestruck says, hey, I'm awestruck.
There you go. Sprinkle.
Yeah. Ricky McCullough says, man, we got to revoke Bruce's license. Horrible analysis. Why would we move off of our GOAT tight end? It was a controversial take. I will say that. Once again, you got to have confidence to do these jobs because we do take bold takes. I don't necessarily agree with that one, but I do understand what Damon's saying. There's going to be a distinct dividing line between Kittle's career and his second part of his career that's going to be separated by this devastating injury and age. And I agree with David on that. I don't think George is going to come back as the all-world multi-purpose tight end. He probably comes back as more of a blocking tight end and less of a receiver. But you know what? I still think that it really comes down to Jed loves him. Did you hear this?
Everybody loves him. You know who everybody also loved? Joe Montana. They traded him.
Yeah, because he asked to be traded. He asked to be traded. He would never have been traded unless he asked to be traded. That was an emotional moment for Eddie D. I've talked to Eddie D about it. He would not have been traded unless he asked to be traded. And that was a weird situation for sure because Steve had become the MVP and Joe had missed multiple years with back injuries, and yet his value was so great. I mean, it's kind of like if I don't want to even say it. I was going to say if Brock Purdy was hurt or something. I won't even get into that kind of thing. But basically, there was an anecdote last night, supposedly, and did you hear this? Maybe you didn't hear this. Supposedly Jed called down to the locker room and said to George, what can I get you? You know, I know you're in a terrible spot. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? And George told Jed, get me a bottle of tequila. And Jed had a bottle of Patron from his suite brought down to the Niner locker room. And by the end of the game, it was done. Now, I'm not saying George Kittle drank all that tequila because I don't think he did, but I'm sure he had a few shots. And,
I mean, look at it this way. What's the old saying?
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool.
When you got a good story and the choice is between do you print the truth or you print the legend? Print the legend on that one. I like that story, whether it's real or not.
Yeah. Double B Studio. If the Niners win the NFC and lose the Super Bowl with this team, should they just move on from the millions of dollars in injury-prone players? Ooh, that's a big, now you're asking kind of a big question, like should they move on from Bosa? Should they move on from – no, I don't think so. I think
they move on from the electrical grid, Larry. Is the electrical grid. Can you play a Super Bowl that close to an electrical grid and have all players survive the game?
Yeah, I mean, that actually is kind of a big story. Why? Because if the players believe that to be true, the Niners in a free agency world could have a hard time attracting players. So they better hope that they can debunk that, or that that's not true, or that there's no impact of that, because that could really hurt the Niners. It really could. Thoughts of an Uber driver. Love Larry. Will always try to tune in for his analysis. Damon, your takes feel like a slave to the moment and are overreacting. Damon, consider more integrity with your takes.
Hey, fuck you. I don't know what else to say, dude. Fuck you. Maybe I ain't for everybody. Maybe I ain't for you, softy.
Perry Ford, Memphis. Happy birthday, Larry. Thank you. Fuji says, happy birthday, USI Wildcat. SOB. Boo, St. Ignatius. Come on, bro. You hate us because you hate us. Blood Moon. Darrell Taylor released 49er first waiver priority. Yes. He was released by who? The Bears? Did the Bears just release Darrell Taylor? Dude, I would sign Darrell Taylor.
I don't know
loved it. Darrell Taylor was a great defensive end at Tennessee, played with Seattle for a while. If he's out there and I could get him, I would absolutely try to get him, especially going against his former team. Oh, my God, I would definitely try to get him. I'll look more into that. Thank you, Blood Moon. Myco Loco says, had a blast this morning listening to Philly radio. Oh, I bet. I bet. Oh,
knives are out.
Oh, the ugliness of Philly radio today. Larry Martin, Blue Blood Sports in the chat. Check out this coverage. He's great. Okay. Now we got people pumping other people. Niner Mafia. Happy birthday, Larry. Have a great one. Also, the one who reported Ricky running routes was David Lombardi. I was watching him when he said that. Yeah, there were no routes run. Not that I saw, or if you want to call it routes, it looked like jogging up and down to me. I saw no routes the day I was there, and that was the day that I read that as well. I was like, I didn't see any routes. Paul Glass says, JJ was a higher quarterback prospect than Darnold and Lamar in high school. Wow. Barry Ford, Memphis. Larry, if you haven't already, try Afrin. Oh God, I've tried it. When I get back, I gotta see a ear, nose, and throat guy and just say, what the hell's going on? Double B Studio, hot take. Tonjes better than Kyle Pitts. Well, you know what?
That's a hot take.
He is for the price. There's no question about that. San Fran Trader, tickets start at $600. Do people not have to have rent to pay? Dude, it is. I will say this, and it's awesome. The Niners traveling is amazing, the fans, but it does make me wonder, how much do these people work, and how much money? Because I mean, it's several thousands of dollars to go Airbnb, flights, cabs, Ubers, restaurants.
Hey, the cheapest get-in price for the national championship game is like $4,000.
Whoa!
And guess what?
Are you going?
Yes.
You're going to Miami?
Yes.
Are you really?
Yes.
What's the spread? I'm taking Indiana. What's the spread?
I didn't look at that. I don't care. I just want to beat my. I don't gamble on the Hoosiers.
Dude, that was the easiest bet of the year, by the way, taking them over Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
That was I mean, I bet that, then I'm like, wait a second, I'm going to bet that again.
Let's just say a little miracle came into my life last night. I'm going to the national championship game.
Look at you. Look at you. I'm happy for you, man. Paul Glass says, showing love to Damon too. JJ for quarterback prospect. Okay. All right. That's going to do it for us. 61 supers on a day after show. Almost
it's a big day
3,200 people watching live right now. First of all, I just want to say, this has been a great year. Damon and I have grown our channels. We've had a lot of fun. Wake Up has grown. I know lots of people, like it and look forward to it. And we like it, and we're going to keep bringing it to you. We got people watching on Twitter. We have people watching on Facebook. We have people watching on YouTube. We have almost 2,000 people watching on YouTube right now. So, and as I said, almost 3,200 people watching overall. So, hey, thank you to all who have supported us. We should thank you guys more, but, we try to mostly focus on the content. But no, seriously, Bob Fitzgerald, we worked with in radio for years, used to have a saying. And his sign off, Damon, I had mine, which was Larry Krueger, often wrong, seldom in doubt. Damon had his sports don't
build character, they reveal it.
They don't what? Sports
don't build character, they reveal it. That's not mine. It's John Wooden, by the way. It's John Wooden. Yeah.
Right. And mine's not mine either. And Fitz's was without you, and this is true. He's like, without you, I would be talking to myself. And that it really is true. Without the audience, we're sitting here just talking to ourselves. So thank you to everybody in the audience that supported us. And it doesn't end here. Our coverage of Niner football will continue. Our coverage of Bay Area sports will continue. And obviously we got more playoff games and hopefully a Super Bowl to come. Man, we are going to party on Super Bowl week. And then we're going to hit the offseason hard. and we're going to bring you lots of videos and lots of streams and lots of content. So keep
My
it parked
favorite
right
thing
here
about
on Wake
sports-
Up.
My
Yeah.
favorite thing about sports is it goes to infinity. It never ends. It never ends in any direction. You can look at free agents. You can look at draft picks. You can look at signings. You can look at everything. It never ends. Sports just keeps going. It's the one thing that I can guarantee. This industry never ends. The industry of how people cover and broadcast sports, we're watching that end in real time. But the topic of sports never ends. And the fact that you and I have a platform here on YouTube, which is, officially now one of the only platforms that matters in the world. And this is happening for us. It's very, very exciting. And I do want to thank everyone. A huge part of Larry's audience has become a part of my audience and vice versa. And, if we rub you wrong some days, we just hope you come back the next days because I'm sure we're going to rub you right. But if you talk extemporaneously for 2 straight hours without any commercial breaks, eventually we're going to say something that you might not like. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah,
but thank you for watching. I shouldn't have effed that guy. It pissed me off.
No, you should have effed that guy. We're real. This is a real show. This is not,
like I said, there's no integrity to being the content creator that picks the Niners to win every game.
You know what? If you want to pick the Niners to win every game, do it. It's not what you pick, it's what you say to back up your pick. You know what I mean? It's like it's like high school math. It's not did you get the right answer? It's did you show your work? There you go. Paul Glass says, Larry, not fucking with you on JJ. Check 24/7 Sports. No, I hear you. I know. I wasn't questioning it. Khalil Adams says the linebacker play was outstanding. I really enjoyed watching Kendricks work within the defense. I did too. I mean, and I said to Kendricks in the postgame, I'm like, dude, you have played 16 games. He's an NFL starter. He's played 16 games much of his career. This is probably the freshest that Eric Kendricks has ever felt in early January or mid-January. And it's because he only played a handful of games. But guess what? Guess who benefits? The Niners. So I still fear Kendricks and Wallow on a fast surface being exploited in the pass game.
I mean, here's the thing. He's 33 years old. Only playing a handful of games that really matter at the end of the season. That's probably what, secretly, no player wants to say it out loud. Yeah, give me less to do and I'll be better at it. But there's truth to it because age catches up with guys quickly in this league. So he's been great. And again, the Eagles, they can Garrett wallow in their defeat today. They really can. They can wallow in it.
That's going to do it for us. We're 2 hours and 6 minutes into our stream. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle on my end. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades once again for sending us to Philly. Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles also had a hand in sending us to Philly. The great Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. Thanks to Sleeper and Plank Oakland and all of our sponsors. Damon, thank your sponsors one more time. We're going to bolt for the door. We got to head to the airport. We have one more super here. I can't even say that.
Extemporaneously.
Great word. Good knowledge.
Thank you very, very much. We try to mix in one big boy word per show. Glad we got one in there today. I just want to thank everyone. Thank you to Ike's of Ike Sandwiches. He and I are going to be all over Radio Row, Media Row. Calling it Radio Row is just silly anymore. But we're looking forward to getting to each other and feeding a whole bunch of people during the Super Bowl. And when you're going out and you're looking for a real bar full of real San Franciscans in a real easy to get to because it's just off of a Muni train, get yourself to the Dubliner West portal. Love those guys. We want to thank Sleeper too, Larry. Sleeper is sponsoring both of our channels. I went belly up on my Sleeper bet yesterday. Never been happier to lose a bet than I was with the outcome of that game. So thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to our sponsors and thanks to all of you for being a part of this. And the good news is the ride ain't over.
On to Seattle.